have been learning about the Declaration of Independence, which was a document written stating America's freedoms. Listen and visualize as I read from your Our America book about the Declaration of Independence and Independence Day. On July 4th, 1776, some important men from each colony met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They wrote a paper or letter to the King of England to declare to him that the American colonies were free. In the coming weeks, each of the men signed his name to this letter. It was called the Declaration of Independence. News traveled very slowly in colonial days. Messengers jumped on their horses to spread the news of the Declaration of Independence to each of the 13 colonies. The people of the American colonies were filled with joy. Church bells rang, cannons boomed, torches were lighted, people paraded down the streets as drums beat. That day is known as America's birthday. We call this special day Independence Day, but you might know this holiday as the 4th of July. More than 200 years have passed since the Declaration was signed, yet on every 4th of July, bells ring, flags wave, drums beat in parades, and families get together for picnics. At night, there are fireworks. All of these things remind us of the birthday of a free nation, the United States of America. Just writing a declaration and declaring freedom did not make our country free. The King of England was not happy about the Declaration of Independence. England did not agree to set the colonies free, and the War for Independence began. George Washington became the first general to lead the colonial army. He gave the soldiers courage to fight. It was a difficult war, but the American colonists were willing to die for their freedom. Many colonists did die. They fought bravely so that they, their children, and their grandchildren might live in a free country. Finally, the American colonies won their independence. When the war was over, America was free from England. Some people thought that each colony should become its own country. Some thought the 13 colonies should become one country. A meeting took place in Philadelphia. Many men, including George Washington, went to the meeting. The men decided that each colony would become a state. All of the states together would then make one country, the United States of America. Who would be our new country's first president? George Washington was chosen. He was loved by everyone. Wherever he went, crowds cheered him. He was our president for 8 years. George Washington had made quite a name for himself while leading the colonial army. People could trust him. There's a Bible verse that comes from Proverbs 22:1 that says, "A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold." This means that your reputation and your name should be more important to you than riches and gold. George Washington treated people right, and he was trustworthy, so much so that they made him the leader of our country, the first leader. That speaks volumes for how he was and how he treated people. There are some more men who were important to the founding of our country, and which you will learn about today in a video that talks about some little known facts about the Declaration of Independence. There will be some questions added to our class story that you will have to answer, and that will be your attendance assignment for today. So when you watch the video about the Declaration of Independence, go to our class story, answer the questions, take a picture, upload them, and you will be counted present for the day. Moving on to science, we have been discussing habitats, more specifically the desert. You all watched the video, Bill Nye, and you wrote down facts that you learned while watching the video. Today, our objectives for science are to identify characteristics of the desert and its animals. So here I have taken one note from each of you, and we will discuss desert facts. The first note is Deserts can be found all over the world, and that note was by Samani, and that is true. Some people think that deserts are only found in Africa, but they are not. Deserts are found all over the world. Some people think that deserts are found only near the equator, but they are not. The habitats that are near the equator are rainforests and tropical forests. The most rain comes near the equator. Deserts are found at a good distance away from the equator, which is why they don't get much rain. Our second fact is dry creatures live in the desert like snakes, lizards, and spiders. That note was from Demira. Next we have you can get water from a cactus. That note was from Amber. Cactus skin is very prickly. That note was from Jordan Owens. Animals in the desert keep cold by putting dirt on their body. That note was from Noah. All of those notes illustrate how God created these animals to adapt to their habitats. Animals that can go for long periods of time without water or food are animals that live in the desert. A camel has humps on its body by God's design. Camels need to go long periods of time without drinking or eating, so they store energy in their humps, and they can go up to 3 days without drinking anything. Our next note comes from Grayson. The desert rat uses dust to clean themselves. Mason says hot deserts are cool at night. Jordan Massey says the desert has sand all over. And Kaneko says clouds act like a cover or blanket at night to keep it warm in the desert. All of those facts are true. While deserts are very hot in the daytime, when the sun goes down, deserts can be very cold at night. In fact, some of the world's coldest climates are deserts. Antarctica is a desert. While there is ice in Antarctica, the ice has been there for years and years and years. Because clouds act like a blanket over the sky, like Kaneko said, if it is a cloudy night in the desert, it may be a little warmer than it would be if there were no clouds in the sky. All of these desert facts are things that you will need to know to prepare for your Chapter 4 test. These exact questions will not be on the test, but you need to know the characteristics of the desert and the characteristics of desert animals.